again, coming off a weekend this weekend, which we needed to play better than we had before. Thought we did. Achieved what we needed to do. Got better last week in a lot of areas. Got to continue to get better in all three phases again this week. We need to focus on today, not past today. Do the things in all three phases that get us in preparation to be the best we can be on the weekend and get ready to go. But I thought in their game Saturday, I thought our special teams did a really nice job controlling field position. I think we averaged 34 yards of kickoff return, 14 yards of punt return. Did a nice job covering kicks. We kicked well. We kept them inside the 20 almost every time we kicked off. Punt covered one time. They held us up and got one down the sideline, which we've got to get corrected because they got a very dynamic punt returner this week. But we're kicking the ball very well. Had one nice pooch punt down to the 10-yard line. He executed that very well. We caught it, downed it, did that. Kicked field goals, made our field goals, did the things we had to do in that area. Offensively, again, ran the football well. Was very efficient on third down. Threw the football very effectively. Even though we elected not to after the first quarter, we were 6 for 6 for 104 yards and a touchdown. We're playing very well, but got control of the game and running the football and had some nice runs. But then it still picked up third down conversions and decisions for the most part. Threw the ball very effectively when we had to and converting and adding to the plays. And again, continued to run it. Red zone was excellent. Then the last, I think, 6-7 minutes to go in the game at the end, we ran the clock out with our 4-minute offense, never gave it back, got first downs, executed that way, managed the clock very well from a quarterback standpoint where we snapped the ball and did things of that nature. Had one penalty on offense, which was very critical, again, not putting yourself behind the 8 ball. That was a late hit, which was an aggressive penalty, but at the same time, got to be a little smarter there. Only had 4 penalties on the game, so played much more disciplined in the way we played, getting better in that area defensively. Started off the first drive, 2 drives were not very good, but the first play, we're there. We just don't make the play. We're in the right position, we're in the right call, we're in the right deal. We just don't make the play. Come back later, he makes a play on the same type play later on. That's ball. And then the second drive, they had a nice drive. We had a few missed assignments, got it ironed out, then went 9 straight times with the ball out. Did a great job. Had 6 3-and-outs, which is incredibly tough. Had 2 critical turnovers, got a pick, and then got a pick 6 after we actually turned it over coming out the second half, which I was not happy about. And then got it right back for us, and then went on a 94-yard drive after that. So defense, we did a great job there. When we didn't finish, got a little bit of discipline in our gap control. Again, those last 2 or 3 drives, and give them momentum. It was on a third down play. We make the third down play, we're off, we get another 3-and-out. They hit the big run, get a little momentum, and then got some confidence, and then hit a really nice pass play down the side. Again, in the right call, we got the guy covered. As far as we're half a step off, they make a perfect throw, got it covered a half a step better. And they started that drive. And then we got to finish better. But getting better, have a long way to go in all 3 phases. We'll keep working. Question?
Jimbo, did watching the film change your mood about the game? Because after the game, it looked like frustration.
I was not frustrated.
Okay.
I was not frustrated. Everybody keeps saying I was not frustrated at all. I just gave you factual answers. I mean, you wanted to know, you asked the question, what was the difference? We did our job. What was the difference when they started scoring it? We didn't do our job. I mean, we were there, and that's not frustration. That's fact. I wasn't frustrated. I mean, I want to make every play on offense and defense. We weren't perfect in any phase, but we're getting better and we're doing good things. And we got to get some of those young guys have to continue to grow and develop and make plays. They're making them a step slow at times. And then we got to be more disciplined and some gap control consistent. Because we did it for them. When you do it for 9 straight drives and do that right there, they couldn't move it an inch. It shows you how we can play, just like we did at Ole Miss. We just got to continue to do that. Got to be more physical up front, I think. And I think on both sides, the defensive line and offensive line continue to be physical up front is going to be really key. We got to do that up front on the defensive side even more so too. Playing a little bit high, got to get our hands in better places and have gap control with them also, and not just always on the secondary linebackers. They got to get off and make some plays and also push that pocket, push that line of scrimmage.
Jimbo, they were talking about this on TV and journalizing like we tend to do about.
You tend, yeah.
About Florida State against dual threat quarterbacks and having difficulty. The dual threat quarterbacks you guys are facing are giving everybody they face trouble, aren't they?
Name me a team that doesn't have trouble with dual threat quarterbacks. That's what I want to know. Name me a team that doesn't have trouble with dual threat quarterbacks. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, it's a way of the world and the way people do things. And I mean, the best team in the country, Alabama has trouble with them. Ohio State, I mean, everybody has trouble with them. I mean, that's it. But we have. Here's the problem. It doesn't matter. I don't care what everybody else does. We have to get better at what we're doing. Because we're facing.
What's the most effective way, or what do you preach to your kids when you got?
Same thing I just said. Do your job. Eye control, gap control, and be physical to line of scrimmage. When you dent the lines of scrimmage, and you push them back, and you make those things bubble, and you let people run to them, and you stay gap control, and you stay inside out, and you trigger. A lot of times we would trigger, but we'd be a step slow, or 2 steps slow, and all of a sudden that gives the back room to make you miss. Just like Dalvin. on the first play. They have a safety run the alley. We get everybody blocked. He's a step slow. Guess what happens? It's no different when Dalvin gets the ball. When you trigger and fit on great players, you got to eliminate the space, what we call it. So there's no air. And you got to trigger quicker, seal it up so there's no, it's like water. There's no sieves or creases for it to go in. And you got to do it quicker and more and physical to do it. And you have to do it every daggone time against good players.
During that stretch where you had the 9 stops, was that gap discipline, that kind of stuff, was that the biggest difference in that stretch, or was there an attitude, anything else that was different?
No, I mean, there was an urgency to do it and do it right and a focus. And I say this all the time and I joke. But and everybody brushes it off. Kids do not focus at the level they used to focus at because our world is a multitasking world, just like y'all right now. Some of you are tweeting it out, you're writing it, you're listening, you're doing 4 things at once, but are you really concentrating on any of them? If you focused on one thing. And our world does, think about SportsCenter. When you watch SportsCenter, you watch SportsCenter, then you're reading the ticker at the bottom, and you're reading the 5 things on the left sideline about what's to come up. Am I right or wrong? So your mind is really in where? 5 different places. And you guys, and it's funny, but it's the truth. You have to teach kids to focus and the urgency of learning to lock in and not get bored, because kids tend to do that. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's a factual thing about our society today. And you see scores and things all over the country like this. And it's part of being mature and understanding what your job is. And it's not an excuse. We have to do that. And that's what we did for those 9 series. We did that. Then we had just got a little bit of lag. And it happened on a 3rd down. For 2 straight downs, they were 3rd and 5. And we give up 5 more yards on 2 downs. And did not fit a trap, did not pull and hit the puller in the backfield. And the other backer, when he saw the puller, did not step over one gap. If we do that, it's there. There's no 1st down. We're another 3 and out. And it created one little space, and they got to run, and they got momentum, and then they go. And but you cannot ever have those lapses.
How did Fred Jones play?
Solidly, had a solid game. Did a nice job a couple times, had a couple tackles for loss, got more plays, played a lot in there, and did a solid job.
Jimbo, what was it like to see Dalvin have the breakup game that he had with Pat, and what do you think is his confidence moving forward?
Well, about my confidence. We can run that football like that. It's good. I mean, and I joke about that, but it is. And our offensive line's confident, and our team's confident. And you go back and watch that film now, our offensive line put hats on hats, did not have penalties, communicated, we checked, did the things we had to do. Tight ends blocked their tails off. I mean, Izzo, one time took one through the end zone and blocked well. Maven Sanders probably had his best game as a football player here at Florida State, blocking and doing the things he did. Our receivers, Travis Rudolph had 5 or 6 cuts downfield, and you saw him escorting those guys on those long runs or cutting guys down. Bobo blocked, but our receivers did a nice job down. Our fullbacks, and it was good that we could play that physical part of the game because it only opens up the passing game and other things in which we do. And it was just good relief that we're getting that balance again on off and throwing the ball and running the ball.
Is it contagious to see one guy do well?
No doubt. Anything. It's called, and that momentum. I say it all the time. Momentum, and all of a sudden you start getting confidence, and all the things that you thought were, ain't so bad no more. And I start playing fast, I quit thinking, I start reacting, and I play football. Now, you gotta go back and do it again this week. And that's what I'm trying to say. Do your job this week. And don't flip past Monday. Practice for Monday, do what we gotta do on Monday, get better on Monday.
Jimbo, it seemed like a lot of the runs that generated some big yardage were on the left side. Was that something you saw with USF? Are you confident in what you had on that side of the offense?
No, just the way formation went. We had a lot to the right too. I mean, we had some good ones to the right. Both ways. It wasn't not a planned thing to go left or right. It was what the defense was giving us and our checks and what looks we want to run into. And DeAndre did a really, the quarterback didn't throw much, but you talk about managing the game, getting your checks, that's decision making too, getting you to the right call, the right play. He's really growing in that aspect too.
Is he doing as much of that now as he did earlier in the year, or has he been pretty consistent as far as?
No, he's getting better and better at it. Getting better and better at it.
Jimbo, Brock Rubel got a lot of playing time in this last game. How much more of a complete player is he than he was last year?
Well, I think more mature. As another year, he's stronger. Game slowed down, and even setting back sometimes when you got taken out, and just seeing and then analyzing and watching, and he's just becoming a better football player. And again, he and Ricky Leonard, we feel comfortable. We're developing 2 guys at that position that we feel really comfortable with.
Jimbo, what do you like about Trubisky as a quarterback?
What I like about him?
What do you like about him?
He's not on my team. I'm joking. No, he's a dynamic. He's a guy that I like him, but he's going to be a pain in the tail. He can throw it, he can move, he can run, he makes good decisions. He's a competitor, he's big, he's strong, he's hard to get down in the pocket, arm strength underneath, run pass options, throw the ball. I mean, he does it all. I mean, he's a really, really good player. Really good player.
fact that he converted 3 4th downs in a row to be, what does that take on a quarterback he's able to do that?
Now, I have great confidence. He got great confidence, and I think that makes them grow, just like DeAndre did in bringing us back. You know what I'm saying? All those, when you go in those situations, you're able to make those plays. And again, like I say sometimes, part of learning to play on the field is once you finally have that success, and you say, you know, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably a big moment for him too in the kind of game he had.
With the design runs with DeAndre, what kind of stress does that put on defense?
Big time. You saw it on our end. I mean, a dual threat quarterback. Look, you forget, we dual threaded them back. I mean, and what happens? And it makes your lineman better because angles now get better. Now you're blocking back because you're up a guy. See, that's what people don't understand. When you're up, when your quarterback does all that, it's a very dynamic thing, but you risk of injuries and things like that happen, but it makes everybody on the field better because the angles increase. And they have to play both sides, and especially when you can throw the football. It changes everything.
Is that something you kind of wanted to get to after the league?
I've always had it. We've always had this in the offense, and I've always done it off and on through the history of my career for the last 16 years. It was nothing new. We didn't put anything new in. Something we've always had.
Jimbo, it seemed like a few times in that game, you had players getting on to teammates and holding them accountable. Are you seeing more maturity in that area?
They got to. I mean, and again, hey, we're talking to you, not at you. You know what I'm saying? When we're with you, you got to do that. And that's with the good teams I've ever been on. I never used to have to say anything. Those guys grab each other by the face mask or by the throat. And, hey, this ain't going. You got to fix it. You need to get right. You need to do that. I mean, back on your good teams, you never, as a coach, very rarely ever had to say something like that. And when I'm saying this can be a good team, and I think that's part of a sign that we're heading in the right direction. The guys are feeling. You got to feel comfortable in that role too. You know what I'm saying? And you're getting more guys starting to feel comfortable. Because again, like I said, there's not a lot of seniors on this team. Even though guys have played, and taking that role and saying, well, man, I'm a sophomore, I'm a junior. Can I really do that? Yes, you can. And they're growing into that. And that's a good sign.
I'm going to take a question from Matt Baker here. Matt?
Hey, Jimbo, what are your impressions of UNC's defense?
Very good. Big physical guys up front. Heavy guys, thick, strong. Backers are athletic. 2 corners are probably playing both in the leagues. The safeties can tackle well, play in space well. The nickel, and then when they go nickel, go 6 inside and bring 5 in. Again, play another good 3rd corner, strong. I mean, they're a good football team. There'll be quite a few guys off that defense drafted.
And what do you think kind of Gene has brought to their defense since you've been there?
Oh, Gene's a great coach. Stability, history. I mean, credibility as far as knowing that he's done at the highest levels and coached very well. I mean, he's just a really good football coach.
Thank you, Jimbo.
Thank you.
As far as linebacker.
What does it do for you and your team when you can rely on your kickers with PATs just setting the NCAA record last week? But you said it already.
I didn't say it.
Your kicker said it.
I'll kick him. No. I mean, again, we work, and people say we kick PATs every day in practice. Every day. Just like we do everything. I mean, we kick them every day. And make them line up, kick them, and never take them for granted. You got to focus and have the concentration. And they're huge. I mean, till you miss one, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you realize that. And you don't take anything for granted. We work on them and our field goals and our special teams as much as we can. And I'm very pleased with the progress we're making special teams wise. We're doing a really good job.
Jimbo, what's been your thoughts so far on guys like Roderick as well as Matthew Thomas in terms of what they've done this season?
Getting better. I mean, Matthew hasn't played in a year. He's leading us in tackles. Had a couple issues, but all of them have had a couple of gap issues here and there. But also, again, up front, we can double gap and take some things away and fit safeties better. But they're getting better. Roderick has played, and Roderick's taking on a new role now. So you got to remember, Roderick's never been the guy making all the calls and doing all that stuff. And that's an added burden when you go into that whole thing of saying, okay, somebody else makes a call and I just play. Now I got to recognize, do all those calls. It's an added burden. He's getting better. He does a great job at it. He's getting better. Their play will continue to get better because they're good players.
We talk about making those like added calls. I mean, how do you sense a linebacker is getting comfortable in that role? Is it just the way he commands things in practice?
You got to do it. I mean, and you got to get used to doing it. You got to recognize. You got to call it quick. It's just an added. It's like you. If your boss has you 3 things to do, all right, he comes next week and you got 7 things to do in the same amount of time. And you got to make a call, do this, adjust that guy, move that guy, make a call, boom. But somebody's got to call a defense, just like a quarterback does, and that's part of that. And those things getting better in that role, and you got to do it over in practice. You got to be consistent. That's why I talk about preparation and things, and that's where we're continuing to grow. We're getting better.
Jimbo, punt return, you've gone from 115 in the country to number 4 right now. You got the same guy returning punts. What has happened so dramatically?
The other guys around are doing the job. Is that simple? blocking, we're holding up at the line of scrimmage better, we're getting our hands in place, we're giving him space, and we're creating things, and there's an urgency to do it. And we're old guys, if they ain't, we're getting them off there, putting somebody else in there. I mean, it's about doing your job. I mean, I know people think there's magical formulas and it isn't. Do your job. And do it every day and do it consistently, over and over and over until you're bored. And then do it that much. Then when you get bored, do it that much harder, because that's when you get lapsed. When you think you got it. Now I joke about this, and I use this as an example. Where do most accidents happen when you're driving?
Close down.
Why?
You're relaxed.
You're relaxed, it's normal, it's easy. I got this, nothing ever happened, I'm in a comfort zone, and your awareness does not stay up. It's the same thing when you start playing well at times. And it's two things happen. You either get bored and say, man, I got this, or you say, sometimes you look, and I know people think this is crazy. There's got to be more to this. It can't be this easy. I gotta do something over here. I gotta do more. I gotta do this. I feel like I'm not doing enough because I keep doing the same thing and having success. And people laugh at that, and kids do that. Well, coach, if I did that, but I could do that. No. Then all of a sudden that goes away. Or they think, well, I got it for granted one time and lapsed. And those are things it goes back to focus issues. And that's human nature. Coaches too. We as coaches, when you coach it, when you prepare, are you saying every detail? Or are you saying 9 out of 10 of them? Or do you one day say 8 out of 10 of them? Your intensity, your focus. When I tell them when I get on the field, I'm the same every day. Try to be. I'm not saying I'm perfect. None of us are. But you've got to have the same mindset. And that's where the focus has got to come in.
Are there some personnel you're seeing on that punt team that's really doing well and doing their job?
They are. They're doing their job, and we've tweaked it some of the personnel, but a lot of guys are still similar guys. And we've tweaked a few guys here and there. And all right, you can't do that technique. We're trying to help you do a little technique like this, or double this guy, or double that guy, or pick the right guys. But again, they're doing a really nice job of doing their job and taking an urgency to do it. Bobo's doing a great job of getting the punts in the air, not letting balls hit the ground for the most part, and making good judgments.
Jimbo, there's been coordinator changes, head coaching changes already 4 weeks into the year. Do you ever see benefits of making that type of significant change, whether at the head coaching position or at assistant level?
Do you?
Mid-season?
Do you?
I'm asking a head coach.
I'm asking the expert.
I'm glad you think of me.
I'm asking people with all the opinions. Y'all write all the opinions and give your opinions. Give them out now.
We're just doing our job.
You're going. That's what I'm saying. What's your opinion?
I think it's not great for the program, obviously, but trying to make some change, you kind of wait your season.
Who do you put in there?
Work for the Ravens.
Who do you put in? The Ravens, the Pro Bowl, and staff and numbers. So you're gonna go to the AD and get that extra coach now as we get hired in the middle of the season, and put that money in there to get a coach.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money too. It's a
Yeah,
lot of turnover.
yeah. I mean, but that's what I say. It's a tough. I don't know. I think every circumstance is different. But I think it's a shame that college football is getting to that too now. I really do. And I think it's the first sign up, playoffs. I think you're trying to turn it into pro football.
Jimbo, why is
You're gonna start turning into pro football. Better be careful. Better be careful what you ask for. Or you're saying when the season's over, well, if the team don't go, so eventually they're gonna do with the ball. Well, if we can't get in the playoffs, so the team tanks it, heck with it, we can't go. That's the thing you jeopardize when you start all these playoffs, because it's college football, it's not pro football. Well, if the kid, you guys write it all, well, the season's over, you can't go to the playoffs if this team does it, this team does it, or that team does it. Well, if the kids say it and tank it, then what do you do? Coaches get, but I mean, it's a fact of things that we're heading toward, that we're trying to get like pro football. Do you want to be like pro football? Do you really want to get like, I'm asking the question. I'm not giving my opinion. I mean, I'm just saying. And if it is, it is. It is what it is. You deal with what you deal with, but you better be careful.
You say every circumstance is different. Had you ever made a change in season, or have you ever reached a point where you seriously considered it?
No.
Were you on a
I've only been a head coach 7 years.
Were you on a staff? Did that ever happen to you at all? Did that happen at all?
Had an Auburn, got rid of Terry in the middle of the year. Moved around, got rid of some coaches, and we coached out the season. I'm sorry.
What did that do to your team?
We finished 3-8. I mean, in that regard. But I'm just saying the precedent you're setting for how you want the game to go. I'm not talking about the I'm talking about the big picture of this game. That's why I fight for the FCS schools to play it. They go under. And they don't filter down to Division II. Where's all those kids get scholarships and opportunities? And a lot of those kids come from poor minority neighborhoods that don't have opportunities otherwise except for athletics. Is that right or wrong? And there's opportunities to get an education and get things. So when you start cutting them out, and you're not fitting, and they're not be able to make a budget, and they start dropping. The school I played at doesn't have football. I've seen it. The school I played for does not have football anymore. I probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. I mean, there's a lot of things that we all want, and we want this big picture, and we want this at the end. But we don't look at the big picture of things, how it affects the game itself, the integrity of the game, and what more of it is besides winning a championship, which we all want, and I'm as competitive as any human being out there. But be careful what you write and what you say and which way you direct people. Think about the big picture of what you're trying to do, the longevity. Not next year, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
Bringing it back to Florida State, and I know you dealt with this last year, but with LSU making the move so early, just when it comes to when you talk to your agent or representation, if somebody reaches out to them, what do you want them to tell you? Do you want them to not learn
I'm
something
coaching
on
football.
your season?
I don't tell them anything. I don't listen. I don't accept anything. Don't talk anything. Don't do anything.
Have you heard anything about LSU reaching out to you?
I'm not talking about LSU. No, I haven't, and I'm not talking about. We're talking about North Carolina.
Jimbo, we happened a couple of times this weekend again, where no lead seems safe. It's just, are the offenses this good?
Well, here's the problem. All right, you start going all that no huddle, even when you score points. You listen to the Eagles. You know what are the Eagles this year? 3-0, playing great defense. How many plays are they on the field a game? 53, the least in the NFL. Because their offense keeps the ball and scores points, and they're playing good. They're playing team football. And you go all that things, go running all these no huddle things and all that stuff. You go and score points, but you put your defense on the field. Eventually, they run out of gas. On defense, the ability to chase people is hard. And then when you don't have the depth in the thing, scores are going to go up. Even though you're scoring and leads are going, people run out of gas. And then you got focus issues. You got kids. We got one. Let's go play somebody else. There's 8 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, and all of a sudden it snowballs and it changes. And just friends, we played 2 no-huddle teams this year, critical, right? Ole Miss, and we set a school record against Ole Miss for 42 minutes of possession. And last week we had 40. One had 18, and the other had 20 minutes of possession. So how long was their defense on the field? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, when you talk about this coming, that's why. A lot of those teams and that stuff, you have focus issues in kids, not finishing. So there's a lot of teams having focus issues. Would you be saying that? And you're putting your defense on the field a lot. All that spectacular stuff, there's a double-edged sword to this game. It's not an offensive game and a defensive game. It's a team game. And people don't comprehend that. And I say a lot of right because they love the offense, but you don't look at what the effect it has on the whole football team. And then the effect it has on practice by the number of plays you're doing, number of things, how much you can work them in practice, where you can get better. All those things are affected, which is why I use the GPS to give me an actual count of where our kids are and their physical demands from a game on Saturday.
If your defense is on the field for 40 minutes in 1 week, how much, and you just kind of alluded to it, but even through practice, how much would that still linger next week?
Huge.
North Carolina's coming off a game where I think their offense only held the ball for 19 minutes.
Could be huge if the number of plays are high. It could be, depending on how you practice that week, what kind of recovery time, or what you did the week before, how many plays is the cumulative effect. You get 1 week, but is there 2 or 3? You know, like us having 3 games in 12 days, and we've been on three road trips in 20 days. We've been on 3 plane trips in 20 days. I mean, those are all factors and reasons for things. They're not excuses, but they're things that you have to factor into your practice schedules, your routines, your mental conditioning, all those things that affect the kids.
Jimbo, against the 3 FBS schools this year, I looked it up. When you give up a first down on a drive, the defense, they go and score touchdowns 78% of the time.
Most no-huddle teams, if you look at it on 2 first downs with no-huddle teams, it's almost 90 to any no-huddle team. That's crazy. And that's a little high. We need to be a lot better than that. But it's momentum, and we've lost momentum.
Well, that's what you say. So how do you coach that to get better at stealing momentum back? Is that something?
Doing your job and not panicking. Because a lot of it comes from, okay, here they go, and your inexperience gets you to eye and you don't stay calm. And that's not panic. It's just comfort zone. Okay, they got a first down, minimize. I always talk about minimize the damage. You know what I'm saying? If they do something, if they get a big play, all right, minimize. They're in the red zone. That's minimize. Make them try a field goal. If they make it, okay, we can come back from 3, or they miss a field goal with the odds of missing it. And I think that's from maturity. And sometimes guys, okay, instead of they got a first down, I got to go back now. And like I get punched in the jaw, I want to go punch them again. No, I want to get my hands up, see what they're doing, defend them, and then hit them. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is keeping your poise in the game and going back, okay, forget that last play, let me play the next play. The next play is the most important, and keep your poise and go back to execute to minimize the damage. And you got to talk like that, you got to teach like that. We practice, we'll do sudden changes. We've done things in practice,
Is that what you gotta see though? Because, I mean, look, there was the stretch in the Ole Miss game where your defense dominated the game, and then
Exactly.
again this last week.
And
So
it's-
it is there.
And it's just the opposite on offense. Think, all right, if I get 3 and out, why shouldn't I go out there and be able to score every time? Because they can't get in a rhythm either. You know what I mean? And it's who can keep focused and who fights for it, but then who can respond to the other guy once he slips a jab in my mouth and blazes my nose? How do I respond to that? Can I quit worrying about my nose bleeding and go back to playing football? You know what I'm saying? And that's part of growing young teams and maturity of teams that you got to constantly coach and do every day. And that's our job as coaches, to make that not happen.
How's Durham's recovery coming along?
Good. He was actually had a little bit of weight on it the other day, which shocked me. I thought it'd be another week and a half for that. And they say he's recovering good, so he's whatever's in that Polk County mud down there.
But UNC is one of those teams you don't really get to play very much. Would you like to see a way to maybe rotate some of those coastal teams in more often, or does it matter?
I don't know how you can now with all the teams you got in your conference. You know what I mean? Because you got so many divisional games. And if you do that, then you ain't gonna be able to schedule a lot of your non-conference games. I mean, it depends on what you want to do. But it's great to see them. I mean, they're a great team, great program. Larry's done a heck of a job.
Going back to what you were saying earlier about developing young guys, what have you seen in the development of players like Emmett Rice and Don Tavis?
Don Tavis is getting better. Emmett's getting better. Emmett made some really nice plays on special teams. He's really learning to fit into the defense now. Don Tavis still had some. He got lined up wrong a couple times. You got him in there just on the, in that hurry up deal. It makes him go. He got out of gaps, but he's still playing much better and knows what he's doing. Maybe just lined up, like I say, for instance, Ferris is supposed to be here. He's a foot and a half here, but that makes a difference when you get cut off. But he's, you got to play. You got to develop him. You got to get him in there. Doing a really good job. I'm proud of those guys where they're developing that right now. I mean, at the pace they're coming, they're getting better.
Going back to what you were saying about like first down and just kind of these up-tempo offenses, I mean, is there like maybe a certain limit you look at first down and say, let's make this our benchmark, give up 3 yards of first down, or is there?
Oh yeah, you're like 4 yards or less, and on offense it's 4 yards or more. We have a percentage. We want to be successful 4 yards or more at least 60% of the time on offense. If you do that, your points and scoring and all that. It's like us. When we don't have a penalty on a drive, we score about 82% of the time. We don't have self-inflicted wounds or something like that. I've got a whole chart on us too on offense. When we do things that don't get behind the 8 ball, get behind the chain, I call self-inflicted wounds and do stupid things. I mean, so you have success rates on first down, second down, what's your percentage on third down, and by down and distance, I know what percentage of what you should stop them on. Was 1, 2, 3 to 6, 3 to 4, 7 to 8, 10 plus, whatever it may be. Those are goals and things we have for offense and defense.
And are those up-tempo teams, I mean, are they kind of are they more successful in getting those bigger yards on first down than those?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, it just depends on each one. Sometimes some guys do it by underneath, some guys do it by chunks. I mean,
It does seem that if they don't have success on first down, a lot of times they should.
because there's no rhythm, and the defense is set again. You've taken the aura of eye violations, and it's all based on eye violations and speed. It's delusion. I say it's delusional. It's illusions of the eye. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get guys to get lined up and do like this maybe once or twice, and then you crazy as that sound, that costs you a half a step. That's space. But if once you stop them, then you're sitting waiting on them, and a lot of them aren't severely complicated. There isn't a lot they do because you can't go that fast and have a lot of calls and do a lot of things. So it's based on having that early success to get the momentum to do that. And if they don't, then you're set and ready to go and you make the plays. See, a lot of them aren't very confident, and that's why you hear the pro guys complain about them on offense and things when they get to pro ball, and they go real fast. Well, you got to have a one-word play. In pro ball, they give you a sentence and a half. We give you about a sentence, okay? But what I'm saying is, so they're not prepared. Just calling plays, just saying things. You've seen it now with the quarterback at Cal. I mean, that's some of the things they're saying about that coming from that. I don't know. That's just what I'm hearing and what they say. And so it's a give and take, but it's based on speed, and there's not a lot of reads and things you would do at the next level in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they don't transition as well, consistently.
Jimbo,
With what goes on.
On Dalvin's first run, DeAndre looks like he's making a check at the
He
line,
did.
but nobody moves or anything. Is that a blocking? Is he?
Yeah, checking blocking scheme. Checking the look we wanted to run into and how we wanted to block it and what we wanted to do. We have it built into our call. And he's able to do that by, we teach him what to do and how to do it and where he wants to check it and why he checks it. And then that adjusts everybody on the play.
Jimbo, how do you think your wide receivers have blocked this year, and how important is that to?
Oh, if you're gonna run a football like that, that's where your big runs come. Those long ones, when you really get those guys down. And there's a couple times where we just missed on them. We had a couple more that could have been like that. And we just, their guy got off, or we still got a 15 or 20 yard run, that almost were 70-yard runs. But it's critical. And I'm gonna tell you what, it's hard to block downfield, because the cutting rules aren't the same as they used to be. You can't cut in certain angles like you used to. And think about something. You're running down the field 15 yards, you get your hands on the guy, here comes the guy blocking. You talk about how long you gotta hold the block. And then if you kept any kind of cloth or grab a guy, what do they do? It's an immediate hold. To do that without holding, that's hard. People laugh about that. That's one of the hardest things to do, is block downfield and not get a holding call on those long runs, because you got to hold that block so long for them to get there. It's tough now. I mean, really tough. And then the fine line of getting the guy and not, letting him go, and not, because you got him, he starts to go, and you give him a little bit of tug. There's a flag. That's a fine art that you have to teach. Spend a lot of time on.
Who's the best blocking receiver you've had here?
Woo. Tell you what, KB when he wanted to, whew. I got some, he used to bowl on now. I mean, he hit him and knock him. Because, what he learned to do, but I go back, I'm trying to think here, Preston Parker was nasty. Preston would hurt you. But most of them would all put their hat on there, the size guys, the bigger guys. I'm trying to think, who am I missing? Fortune could at times, who?
Dawsey
was phenomenal blocking for that. We had some guys at LSU. Michael Clayton was the nastiest I don't know I may have ever been around. We still show their videos. I show some of KB skills to our guys. I mean, he'd take you and dump you clear in the fence. And I mean knock you out. Him and Dwayne Bowe were, whew, I'm talking about knock you unconscious. Early Giuseppe was pretty good at that too. I mean, they would, linebackers, D linemen, you ought to watch that video one time about how guys really want to be nasty. Whew, they'd probably throw them out now.
Jimbo, in terms of Switzer, what makes...
But I'm gonna tell you, Travis did an unbelievable job. Him and Bobo blocked their tails off this week. Excuse me. I was just thinking, I want to make sure I got that in. We've had some good ones here. Rod and those guys have all blocked well. Big physical guys make a difference. KB was nasty.
In terms of Switzer, what makes him a dangerous receiver? Is he the most dangerous returner you're going to...
Oh, he's got tremendous ball skills. He's got great IQ of the game of football. You can see how he sits down on a route spin, and he's got great quickness and acceleration. I mean, he can stick his foot. He knows how to set you up, change speeds. He knows where the hole is going to be, so he can know where he's trying to get to, and he can start, stop, stick his foot, and really be fast. And he's got great ball skills to judge the ball, and he got hands. And, a lot of times those little guys have a hard time. They ain't got big hands. Those real tight areas, and he got ball skills. I mean, we recruited. We tried to recruit him. It's daggone hillbilly from West Virginia. Wouldn't come. He was a good player.
Is he the most dangerous returner you guys are going to face?
I don't know who else will be out there. We got to look. I'm not going to take him, but he's as good as anybody I've seen. That guy's legit now. And he's a receiver.
How dinged up is your defense? How dinged up is your defense right now? And also, how is Josh Sweat coming?
We're banged up. I mean, but everybody is. I mean, Derwin's out there. Josh, hopefully he rehabbed. He had surgery, went very successful. Exactly what we thought. So just a matter of how he rehabs and gets back. He'll rehab and we'll see. It's just too early yet. And then, you got some guys with nicks and knacks and bruises, but that's part of the game.
I was going to ask about that. Is there at least a chance you could play this weekend? Well, you said 1 and 2.
I'm not going to rule out any. I can't answer the question because there's not enough information yet to see. You know what I'm saying? It's just too soon.
Trey Marshall left the game with his...
Yeah, he could have came back in, had irritation on the foot, retaped him, and he could have went back in. By that time, we'd gotten the ball back, and had that long drive. So we expect he'd be fine.
Did you hear anything about Dalvin getting picked up? Later in the game, the trainers were he was grabbing his shoulder, and the trainer was talking.
Everybody's always, as a football player, if you get down there, all got ice, that's just normal stuff. I mean, and they always treat it because he had the surgery in the summer, so that's something they always look at. So, but I guess he was hurt, right? He wasn't healthy, was he? Don't believe me.
Naughty
I ain't
Dylan.
gonna lie about that stuff now, I promise you. I ain't gonna lie about nothing. I know what I'm gonna tell you.
Is Naughty dealing with an ankle issue? Is that what?
A little bit. He played though, did good. And Fred started playing pretty decent at times, so we give him some reps and did pretty good. We gotta keep building that depth. Good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.